Hello and welcome to Stories, the True and the Fictional, the indie author podcast supporting indie authors from all around the world. This episode is brought to you by Rebecca Castles of the Rising Dawn series. You too can become a sponsor by heading on over to buymeacoffee.com/STTATF or follow the link in the show notes. And now, let's get into the show. Warning. Listening to this episode may cause your TBRs to grow in size.
Hello guys and welcome to another episode of Stories, the True and the Fictional, the indie author podcast supporting indie authors from all around the world. I am one of your hosts, Jay O'Brien. With me always is our resident reader, Ryan. How you going, Triple R?
I am living the dream, my friend, living the dream. I am definitely enjoying the book that I'm reading at the moment. It's by our friend of the show, Timothy Robert. I think that's how you say his surname.
That's it.
It's his new book, Flame of, and I'm going to probably not pronounce this correctly, Alamadraz. There's two A's in it. So, Alamadraz, Flame of Alamadraz. It's the fantasy I love. You know, a young boy who's a shepherd in a small town ends up being the chosen one, and goes on a journey. It's very similar. I messaged him the other day and I said, I'm really enjoying your book because it reminds me of David Eddings a lot. He does party fantasy really well. So I finished Crownfall, which was absolutely amazing. I know Michael Vadney was working on it for a very, very, very long time, and it is perfect. I couldn't fault anything with it at all. It was a long fantasy, 480-something pages. Absolutely loved it. So make sure you check out both those books if you like your fantasy. And the only other thing I really did is I saw Supergirl last Sunday. I was very impressed. I had just recently read the comic arc that it was based on, which is a 12-part limited series called Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow. It's what James Gunn does best. It's a space story. So it pretty much, like 99.9% of the time it's on another it's up in space, and they do a great job of giving us Kara's origin but not oversaturating, the whole story with it. They do the origin to the comics, which I was expecting because James Gunn is very loyal to the comics. Jason Momoa as Lobo was spot on, absolutely fantastic. The story was very, 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 very close to the comic. A lot of people are a bit iffy about the ending, and if you guys have seen it, I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. Look, let's just face it, the movie is not going to be 100% comic accurate, because it's a 12-issue limited series. You cannot fit that much into a 2-hour movie. So I think everyone who's complaining about the ending needs to relax a little bit on, just chill. I am able to separate the comics and the movie. I go into the movie knowing what it's based on and just enjoy the movie. And I really did. It was really fun. There wasn't as much of the James Gunn humor as was in Superman, which was good. It's a coming of age story. She's young. She's 21. And you get to see crypto, a lot of crypto, which is good. I really enjoyed it. I don't really care what anyone online says. It was a really good movie, and I definitely watch it again. I think Millie Alcock is fantastic as Supergirl. So check it out if you're a fan of James Gunn, if you're a fan of Superman, the latest Superman movie, check it out. Really, really, really good. And there's no post-credit scene, so don't stay after the credits. There's zero post-credit scene.
I'm just checking because I don't think. Yeah. So James Gunn didn't direct it; he only produced it.
Yeah, but he had I listened to a podcast with him, and I can't remember the person who directed it. He basically guided the director in terms of what he wanted the story to be like. Yeah. But look, I don't know if it's me becoming older and just getting a little bit more grumpier, but seriously, like the amount of people online that are just saying it's not true to the comics, it's never going to be 100% true to the comic. Just chill, just relax, and enjoy the movie for what it is, a good story.
Yeah.
Don't pick the crap out of it.
Yeah, well, that's the world we live in. We like to pick.
Yeah, look, I get it. I'm not going to hold it against you if you do it, but I scroll through Facebook and I'm just like, it's just people, it's just everyone finds something to complain about. I just went in, I enjoyed the movie. It was good fun. It was great acting. It felt like I was watching a comic book come to life, and that's all I need to enjoy it.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, so while I think of it, we're past halfway through the year. We are going to be doing our Indie Awards at the end of the year again, and Ryan suggested, and I think it's a good idea, we're going to have some categories, because let's face it, if Ryan could only choose one book, it would be horror, and that's just not fair on all the other and fantasy people.
Especially that I've read 2 books this year that I simply just can't pick between.
Yeah.
I cannot pick between. They were both absolutely phenomenal books, phenomenal stories, and I'm just like, I need to have a best fantasy and a best horror.
Yeah.
And we can have some other categories as well. I think, as we grow as a podcast, I think the awards should grow a bit as well.
That's it. Yeah. So we got a whole lot of ideas for that coming, guys, but we will, reveal them later as we develop it, and jump into our Discord, because we do a lot of discussion in there too. So reach out. We'll give you the link. There's some great stuff going on in there. Buy some merch if you want to support the show. Check out our sponsor, Rebecca Castles, our honorary sponsors, Janelle Schiecke and Alexander Robb. All their links are down below. But right now we're going to dive into an episode with someone that Sam Robb recommended, Claire Merrick. And boy, this was a long episode. I believe it's longer than our episode with Mike Roberts. So strap in, but it was a really good conversation.
Yeah, no, definitely. She's a lovely person. Her writing journey is a bit different than a lot of other people. She has a lot of experience in that department. And it was a great chat. We talked movies, we talked books, we talked everything you could think of. It was a great talk, great chat.
Great chat. So yeah, guys. With that being said, let's go talk to Claire Merrick. Claire Merrick, welcome to the show. How are you going?
I'm doing good, thank you.
The first question we always love to ask is, who is Claire Merrick?
Claire Merrick is I guess I can say I'm pretty brand new. I became a published author this year, in fact, although I've been writing for many years, and interestingly enough, I have all of my work is different types of writing. So I do I've worked in public relations. I have worked as a news producer, which probably was what sent me on the horror fantasy route, I think, after doing that for 7 years, but writing a lot of 20-second blurbs of the news, and decided when I did that for 7 years and then said, I am done writing about, 8 hours a day of politicians, criminals, and celebrities. I don't know which ones I hate more at this point.
Or which one's which.
Yeah, or which one's which. That Venn diagram is getting more and more and more into just a plain old circle.
Yeah.
But when you write fantasy, you can control how much you like the characters, frankly. Most of the time. I will say sometimes they go off on a tangent and I don't know where they're going to end up by the end of it.
Tell me about it. Tell me about it. Yeah, so we will dive into a lot of that. I got a lot of questions about that sort of stuff. But we do icebreakers on this show because it's not going to work for Ryan because he already bought your book. He just told me he bought your book before he even came on. So congratulations.
Oh, well, thank you.
Usually we get halfway through the episode and Ryan's eyes look down and you go, why are you distracted, Ryan? And he's like, I'm buying your book. And it's because of the icebreaker questions. But who knows? If you answer these poorly, then Ryan might return the book.
No. My wife's in hospital at the moment. I was there yesterday, and I got the sheet. Jamie sent me the sheet for today, and normally I go on Amazon straight away and have a look and make sure I have the right author and what kind of style you write.
You don't want to introduce Jane Smith, the romanticy author.
Exactly.
Bring on the
exactly. Yeah. So I found the cover for your book and I sent Jamie a message. I said, "Is this the Claire we're talking to tomorrow?" And he said, "Yes." And I just looked at the cover and I'm like, "Yeah, I love my horror. I'm a massive, massive horror nerd. Anything and everything horror I will devour." So I saw the cover. I'm like, I'm going to buy it now because while I'm at the hospital, I do a lot of reading. So I haven't started it yet because I'm one of those people who I need to finish the book that I'm reading before I start the new one. But I'm almost finished it. So I will be starting soon. I'm looking forward to getting into it.
Thank you. Well, that's me as well. I just got back from LibertyCon, which is a science fiction fantasy convention in Tennessee. So, of course, that means I now have a small stack of books to add to the stack of books that I still need to read right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have that many books that I have to read digitally. On my Kindle app, I've now got 206 in my TBR. But in saying that, I do read from like 7:30 at night till 1 in the morning every night. So I get through them. I've read 25 books. I'm halfway to my goal of 50 books for the year. And we're about halfway through the year, so I'm kind of on track.
I was going
to say. So he looks forward to reading your book in 2029.
No, it'll definitely be any horror jumps the queue. I have got a few arc reads at the moment, but generally I like to break it up. All the arc reads are fantasy, so I like to break up the fantasy with a bit of horror in between reading those. So because the fantasy ones are like the next fantasy book I have to read for the arc is 792 pages. So and I've got that's book 1 of 2. So and then they sent me the second book, which is just as long. So I definitely need a horror in between. I checked out your book. I think it was 231 pages or something. So that's
short. It's on the shorter side, yeah. Probably by the time you finish it, I'll have the second book out.
Awesome. That's what I like to hear because as soon as I see I followed you on Amazon and I love getting the alerts on my Kindle app that says new book by this person, and I just buy it. So yeah.
Great.
Anyway, Ryan, who goes first? I can't remember.
I'll go first. It's been a while. I missed the last episode, but I'll go first. So, who is your favorite all-time dynamic duo? So, for example, Timon and Pumbaa, Batman and Robin, Rick and Morty, that kind of thing. Who is your favorite all-time dynamic duo?
That's tough. There are some good ones, especially in movies. I will say, probably just in terms of the comedy, Yzma and Kronk from The Emperor's New Groove are among my for some of the funniest back and forth. And Classic. Eartha Kitt is incredible in that role.
Yeah.
I think it was one of her last roles before she passed on.
Now, Disney definitely know how to do the dynamic duos.
Yeah, it's actually one of the few Disney movies I have not seen. I've always wanted to watch it, but everywhere I look, I can't find it because everyone's streaming nowadays.
Well, it'd be on Disney Plus, isn't it?
Yeah, you know what? I searched for it on Disney Plus not long ago and I couldn't find it. So maybe it's still signed on to some other streaming service and it's going to make its way over soon. Who knows? But
Yeah,
I've heard great things about it.
It's underrated for just how I think it built up a following after it had been released as more people watched it, and everybody said this feels more like Looney Tunes than your traditional Disney movie. And I do believe it was rewritten several times. They had a more classic Disney, template going, and it wasn't working for them. So, but it really does feel like they just, wrote every scene to be as funny as possible. And then when they started recording and editing, they kept adding more and more funny stuff in there. The slapstick is great.
That's got to be a nightmare for the people in the editing room and the animation room, because they'd be like, "What, another joke?" Oh,
yeah. But the timing is another. They nailed the timing on the jokes.
Yeah.
Oh, awesome. Well, I'll definitely be tracking that down soon to see it.
It's on your TBW.
Yeah, pretty much. That's way longer than my TBR at the moment. But yeah, I'll get there.
Yeah, cool. All right, what is something on your bucket list?
Bucket list, it would probably be something travel related. I like traveling and having half the itinerary of stuff that is perhaps the usual touristy trap things, but then being able to find other little corners in towns that you would not expect. So I did quite a bit of Europe when I was in college, but there are certainly still, if you go to Italy, there's no two cities in Italy are alike. There's so we had to unfortunately skip Florence when I was there. So I'd love to go to Florence. I was in Italy when Pope Benedict abdicated. So that suddenly screwed everybody's schedule around, because suddenly we had to be in Rome for very specific points during the historic event while we were there. So we had to miss some other things. Japan, and New Zealand as well, just for the landscape.
Lord of the Rings.
Lord of the Rings, why not?
Yep.
I don't know, did you hear apparently a guy who went around New Zealand recently and looked for every specific spot down to the camera shot and then reenacted the frame?
I saw one where he drew it's the one with the cities built into the mountain. It's the name is just
Minas Tirith.
Yes.
Minas Tirith.
Yeah, he finds he finds where that was filmed, and then he just draws the castle.
I like the one of him mimicking the orc's head on the pike with his tongue sticking out.
Yeah.
He's just like, it's New Zealand's absolutely beautiful. I went there 13 years ago with my old man. It's just the fact that you can be in the capital city of Auckland and drive for 30 minutes and it's just lush green farmland. It's just insane. It's such a beautiful country. And I was a nerd as well and I still am, and went to all the Lord of the Rings sites and tours and all that kind of stuff. So it is really good. It's really, really lovely place to go.
Yeah.
All right. Question number 3. Okay, Jamie's going to bring up a
visual
aid for this one. Something that I'm sure you're very familiar with, the lovely monument Mount Rushmore of 4 influential presidents of their time. So given that this is Mount Rushmore, what would be on your Mount Rushmore of television shows? So your top 4 favorite shows that you've rewatched and watched again, and that you believe would be on the Mount Rushmore of TV shows.
So favorite shows
pretty much
that should be on. Mount Rushmore. Let's see. So, OG Star Trek, obviously.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, I think, I don't know how many of the actors from that are still alive now. I think
Shatner is.
Awesome. That guy is starting to look like he's going to be Keith Richards and live forever.
Yeah, that's it.
Home Improvement on the sitcom with Tim Allen was. Our whole Tool Time. Our whole family grew up watching that, and it was so good. I have a soft spot for NCIS.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. All of them, or just
the one with Gibbs, just the first one. That one is really that'll be the one for the crime serial one. Mm-hmm. And then going back to my childhood, I got to get one from the kids era. I did not have cable growing up, so we were limited in our house to PBS, which is the public television, and everything had to be educational in order to come out of that. So the fourth one that I will add was a show called Cyber Chase, which was a point where, because everything on PBS for years was how to read or how to be a good friend. That was their educational stuff. And then at some point in the 2000s, the STEM craze kicked in, and they said, oh, we've got to start teaching kids math and science. So they introduced Cyber Chase, which taught math. And it aligned about the point when I was in middle school and had, I said, I'm finally seeing my mathematical lessons be portrayed. And Christopher Lloyd and Gilbert Gottfried were on that.
Really?
Yeah. That's amazing. I didn't recognize the name, but I just Googled it, and now I go, I know this thing. I didn't know it by name, but I recognized it as soon as I
think it was a Canadian-made show. But how that show introduced me to Christopher Lloyd, because we were watching it after school. We were still pretty young, and my mom walked through and started paying attention. She goes, I know that voice.
Was he saying Great Scott a lot?
Well, then she showed us Back to the Future. She said, it is time I show you Back to the Future for this guy.
Yeah, no, Back to the Future is king. I always legitimately get excited when Christopher Lloyd turns up in anything, because he turns up in everything. Like I'll be watching there's an old show called, pretty old, like probably 20 years old, Chuck. When that came out, he's in an episode of that, and we're like,
Well, he's had 2 time machines stolen from him, because one was in Back to the Future and the other one was in Star Trek, when they repurposed his Klingon bird of prey to go back and save the whales in the next movie.
That's it. And then I loved his cameo in Seth MacFarlane's A Million Ways to Die in the West. He wanders into a barn and there's a DeLorean. It was just like, it's funny.
You know what? A good movie that Christopher Lloyd was in, and he had a small part. I don't know if you've seen it. It's that
Nobody.
Bob Odenkirk.
Nobody.
It's that Nobody movie. He plays
His
Bob
dad.
Odenkirk's dad, and it's kind of like a John Wick thing. Bob Odenkirk used to be part of a special ops team in the army, and they send some thugs to the nursing home where his dad, Christopher Lloyd, is. And they come in, but Christopher Lloyd used to be a special ops guy too. And he literally just shoots them both with a shotgun. And then the aged care representative comes in and just looks in the door and goes, everything okay? And he's like, yeah, no worries. And shuts the door. He's got 2 dead bodies on the ground.
The thing you're forgetting, Ryan, is that they ran in there because they thought they saw gunshots, but then he just turned the TV up.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So it's just like gunshots are coming from the TV.
It's so he pops up in so many things. Like there was like a B-grade horror movie called Piranha that came out probably like 10 years ago.
No,
and he
it'd
had
be
a
longer,
really
man.
small part
It would
in
be
that.
longer. It'd be way longer.
Probably, yeah. but he had a small part in that as well, and he just pops up randomly in things that you don't expect him to be in.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's good.
I'll have to put Nobody on my list of movies to watch.
There's two of them.
Piranha,
Nobody one,
Piranha
and
was
Nobody two.
2010 for Piranha, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, Nobody's good because it's actually made by the same people that do John Wick.
Yeah. It's really good. Like, I watched the first one with Jamie, I remember, at his house. And then my wife, because she loves John Wick, and I said, well, let's watch both of these. They're both on the streaming service, and she loved it too. It's just, you don't have to think. If you want to just sit down and watch a whole bunch of people getting what they deserve.
Yeah.
And Christopher Lloyd in his 70s with a shotgun.
80s.
It's
80s.
perfect.
Because he's almost 90, man. So
yeah, John Wick, it's just how creative can we get with the gun violence and just how much can these guys drink?
Yeah.
I'll never forget seeing John Wick 3 at the movies with everyone, with my wife and Jamie and all our friends, and just watching Keanu Reeves kill a guy with a book. That was just that was just peak cinema.
Peak cinema.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Keanu Reeves was made for that role. Forget Matrix.
Yeah. He's one of those actors like where the role has to fit him. And, and that just does perfectly. Like, because I've seen him in a few I've seen him in a few things. I'm like, I don't know how I feel about that one. I don't know.
Yeah, I think he messed his career stalled quite a bit because they tried to shoehorn him into things that just were not.
And he's just like, I don't want to do that. I'm like, okay.
But yeah, I can't picture John Wick anyone else.
Yeah, no.
It's like Robert Downey Jr. with Iron Man. I cannot picture anyone else playing Iron Man. When I read Iron Man comics, I read them in Robert Downey Jr.'s voice, like his version of Tony Stark.
Yeah.
Keanu Reeves is one of those characters with John Wick that it possibly could have worked with another actor, but I don't think it would have been as good as it is with Keanu Reeves.
It probably would have been Jason Statham, be honest.
Yeah, well, he's kind of in that zone too, where all of his movies are pretty much the same thing. He's, he's found his niche. Yeah, exactly. He's like an ex-special forces guy who tries to retire to a small home in the regional area of America, and then
I'm just trying to settle down. The violence finds me.
He's
exactly.
He's the Adam Sandler of action stars. every now and again there's a real gem, but it's the same formula, it's the same thing, and then you go, wow, that was a good one,
Yep.
Oh yeah. And you know what, I love that about him, because you know what you're going to see when you go into a Jason Statham movie. Like it's not like you're going to go and see the new Jason Statham movie and it's going to be a love story, unless it's a love story between him and a knife. You know what I mean? Like, I will say
an actor who surprised me, because he's got a reputation. When Nicolas Cage did the movie Pig. Either of you see that? Because they marketed that off of his his previous reputation, and everybody I think didn't think it was going to be the John Wick with a pig instead of a dog. And instead it ended up being very, very different. I still enjoyed it a lot. I thought he did a good job with it.
I think people keep forgetting he's an Oscar winner. Like he won an Oscar. Like in the 80s, and then it all went down.
And then you know what? Like, Nicolas Cage is, and we've discussed this before, he either really, really, really suits the role and does an amazing job, or the movie just wasn't well written and it wasn't for him. Like, me and Jamie separately, we both watched Spider Noir on Amazon Prime, which is, Spider-Man set in the 1920s and 30s. He was amazing in that. Absolutely amazing. I thought he was the perfect person to play, Spider-Man. Yeah, he's either really good in the movie or the show, or it's just horrible. Like, there's been some horrible Nicolas Cage movies, but when he does movies like Face Off or Renfield or Kick-Ass,
Yeah.
Like he just fits those roles perfectly.
National
And
treasure.
he's another guy that like I just cannot picture anyone else playing that role. But then he does movies where I think he just does it for the money.
Yeah.
And it's just like there's a movie called Willy's Wonderland, and he doesn't speak in that movie, I think, until like at least an hour and 5 minutes into the movie. And he's in the movie the whole time. He just doesn't speak. He just
but character
he's
actor.
a janitor and he drinks energy drinks and he's fighting demons and stuff like that. But he doesn't talk until like 20 minutes before the end of the movie.
Yeah. But he indulges in just the crazy side when he needs to.
Yeah,
if it's a bad
100%.
he makes himself the best part of the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. 100%. He's a great actor, and he yeah. I if I see a Nicolas Cage movie, there's a 90% chance that I'm going to watch it.
Yeah.
Especially lately, he's been on fire lately. Renfield, I don't know. Have you seen Renfield?
No, I have not seen that one yet. I haven't seen Spider Noir either. Although I've heard things.
Spider Noir is great. Renfield is amazing. He plays Dracula, and he is just phenomenal. Jamie will agree with that.
He really leans into the role. Like he's just like, let's take Dracula into the next level. Like he's just very like, it suits him.
It's a good thing I have a weekend here because you're giving me all these movies I need to watch.
We're creating you your TBW.
Yeah.
I'll give you one more Nicolas Cage one, which was a recent one that me and my wife watched. It's an Australian movie called The Surfer. It was Julian McMahon's last movie before he passed away. It's set in Australia. It's fantastic. It's absolutely fantastic. So it's kind of like I couldn't tell you what genre it is because it kind of blends a few together. Like it blends psychological thriller with, modern day Australian, surfing group that doesn't like other people surfing, and then it kind of has a twist and everything. It's really good. You should check it out.
Oh yeah, interesting. I'll do that.
Yeah.
Anyway, back on Christopher Lloyd. The next question. Dr. Emmett Brown leaves his DeLorean parked in your driveway. Where/when are you going?
I'm curious. Okay, so part of me wants to say I want to take it really far back into the past, but if we're check out ancient Rome, ancient Egypt, when all of that stuff, the architecture was still up. But if we're operating on Back to the Future roles, I probably don't want to go too far back in time because that just means there's so much more that I can change.
Yeah.
Yes.
Through up the modern era. Maybe even take it into the future and see, okay, is there anything that I want to capitalize on, in 5-10 years? Is there anything I want to warn somebody about? That could be another.
That'd be the safer option because you can't screw up the
future.
You
don't have to worry about changing anything unless you want to change it for the better.
Well, I always found it funny about the second one. It's like, Marty, we have to do something about your kids, and we were like, well, you don't need to go into the future to do that. You can just
just tell them
you can
now.
just tell them now. It's just funny, but it wouldn't have been that fun.
That first movie, they just re-released it in the theater. I think it was last year for the anniversary. Man, rewatching it, for how tight it was.
Yeah, it still holds up. Yeah,
it really does. It's the scene when his mom shows up and is asking him to the dance.
Yeah.
And Lloyd's behind him the whole time, just making these facial expressions as they watch their plan fall apart. It's one of the funniest. It's that great subtle acting.
Yeah, he's got really good crazy eyes too.
Just turns and puts doesn't quite put his head in his hands, but you can tell he wants to.
Yeah, that's it. Now, because you're watching Scrubs, Ryan, did you know Ted the lawyer Ted?
Yep.
That's Christopher Lloyd's nephew.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, well, they don't look alike at all, but there you go.
When you watch it, you'll see it.
Yeah, now I think from the next episode.
Because I was the same. I was like, hang on, what? When I found out, I was just like, oh, I can't unsee it. Yeah. They're related.
Well, there you go. All right.
Are they like
Question
the Short family,
Sorry?
or are there a bunch of Lloyds in Hollywood?
Probably.
All right, question number 5, and this is a question that we inherited from another show. We thought we'd keep it going. So basically, the question is hot air balloon or janky sub? And basically, would you rather fly in a homemade hot air balloon way up in the sky or a homemade submarine way down in the ocean's depth? I like to call this question, how would you like to die? Would you prefer to die by falling out of a hot air balloon, or would you prefer to die instantly by imploding in a submarine?
Yeah.
I call this question, how many of my phobias would you like to trigger right now? Would you like to throw some bees in there while you're at it?
Sure. Well, let's have the submarine is filled with bees.
It's infested with bees, yeah, or wasps. Those are the real.
And the hot air balloon is infested with like rats or something.
And then we've got
Spiders.
Jason Statham's in the submarine too from the beekeeper, because he'll beat up all the bees for you.
Well, then that gives her a way out. You can't keep adding a way out,
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah. Heights, claustrophobia, bees. I don't know. What do you want to go with? I guess I'll go with the hot air balloon, because at least then I'll be forced to look at some pretty sights before everything falls to pieces. Literally falls to pieces. No. I think in the sub I would just be huddled in the corner and say, when is this going to be over?
Oh, look at that. Ryan won't be happy. The hot air balloon is edging in front.
I'm team submarine, because I just want to I want my death to be quick. I don't want to. If a submarine implodes, it happens in a second. You don't have time to think or know, you're gone. With the hot air balloon, if the bottom falls out or you fall over the side, depending on how high you are, you've got time to see your death actually coming to you, and that freaks me out more than actually just get the submarine just imploding and I just go. Do you know what I mean? That's why I don't want to have time to think about my death or have, see the ground knowing that there's nothing I can do to save myself. I don't like that.
But
I will say there have been people who survived at obscene heights, falling from obscene heights. Wasn't there one skydiver whose parachute failed to open and she survived because right on the way down she hit a telephone line?
It slowed it down.
Yeah.
Okay.
I've seen trees as well.
Down, it broke the momentum just enough that she walked out. I think she broke every one of her limbs along the way. You never know.
Yeah.
But that is the psychological experiment of it. It's
and it's not like, you never know. It may survive.
There you go.
Yeah, maybe MacGyver built it for you.
Yeah. Well, if it's an action movie, if it was made by the hero, then they're going to survive just barely. If it was made for the bad guys, it's probably going to look a lot nicer and it's going to fall apart.
That's it.
I think honestly, I would probably rather die than fall out of a hot air balloon and break every single one of my bones and spend months and months and months and months in hospital. I think, you know what, just take me now, Lord.
But you will get millions of dollars in a book deal.
Yeah, and a Hollywood movie.
I can't write.
In a Hollywood movie.
Yep. I've tried. I'll have to get Jamie to ghostwrite it for me.
Yeah, just get a ghostwriter, man. I can blemish it.
I'll get Nicolas Cage
to play you
to
in the movie.
Ghostwrite my book as ghostwriter.
No, that's it. I made the joke ages ago and you didn't laugh, so I'm not going to laugh at that joke now. Because that's the best joke. Ghostwriter. He's just like flaming pen.
Flaming pen.
or flaming typewriter.
Yes.
Depending on the era.
There you go.
Cool. Well, we're at the end of the icebreakers. I think you succeeded. You did very well. So let's get into the good stuff. Tell us your author origin story. How'd you get to the point where you wanted to write a book?
Yeah, I alluded to it earlier. I was fresh out of college. I went into the news industry and was writing, and I was actually a third shift person, what we called Morningside, because the show that I was in charge of came on at 8 a.m. And that meant that I had to show up at midnight and put it together, assign parts, fill in, the section for the reporter, write it all. And then actually the end of my day was what people see live on air. And then 2020 shook the world. And then, so one day they told me in the office, that was the last day I was going to be in the office for some time. They said, we are sending you home with 2 desktop monitors and the computer tower and the keyboard and the mouse, and find somewhere to put it. You're going to be working from home, which, and of course, a producer, I'm a poor, impoverished producer. So it's this little apartment, that I'm living in. The setup took the entirety of my little dining room table, and I'd be working in the middle of the night. It's pitch black outside, putting the show together, calling into a conference at certain hours of the day as we get closer to make sure everything's arranged. And then, but the odd thing was, it actually gave me, I started finishing my show earlier than what I would normally do, because I did not have all of the distractions of working in a newsroom where the phone is going off all the time and your coworker wants to come over and start talking about something that does not concern you when the clock is ticking. So I would suddenly be finished with the show and have a couple of hours to do nothing. And it's dark outside, so I can't even go out, and so I would grab my laptop and just start writing other stuff and writing little stories and coming up with things like that. And that went back to when I was a kid. I remember when we upgraded our Mac computer. They were still called Macintosh computers back then. They were about this thick, Yeah. But when we upgraded to a new one, they would move the old one into one of the children's bedrooms. And my sister and I got that one. And I think its storage space was measured in kilobytes back then. And, but it had simple text and it had Adobe PageMaker. So I would, as a kid, be writing stories with that. So then I got another job a few years after that and thought, okay, at this point, do I want to actually consider trying to sell my stuff, which is a big step. And so I started looking up, at this point, I think it was 2023, and I started Googling fantasy and science fiction events that were happening near me. And I found one that was happening that weekend in nearby city of mine in Durham, North Carolina, and it was called Fantasy. And I said, all right, I can go there and go there on a Saturday. And so I started going, and I loved the layout, which is what a lot of the cons are, where you have just a series of hour-long panels, and they're all in one hotel, so you can jump from one topic to the next. But it was small enough that I was able to reach out, talk to one of the guys after he had gotten off his panel. And I just said, I'm new to to all of this. I want to get published and I have no idea where to go. And turned out he was in fact an editor for a publishing wing at the time. And he said, well, let's just go over here near the bar and talk. And I think we ended up talking for about an hour and a half. Very, very nice. And the piece of advice he told me was, if you come back to this con next year, come for the whole event, but come on Thursday, because everything starts on Friday. And on Thursday, all of the writers are showing up, and they've still got energy because they haven't been through a weekend's worth of convention. And you might have a chance to actually talk to people and other things. And he gave me a great deal of advice, but that was the one that paid off, because I did go back to Fantasy the next year. And sure enough, on Thursday, I was able to sit with the different writers who were there, and eventually even some of the convention organizers. And then I think by Saturday night, one of them said, well, let me grab Kevin Eikenberry was one of the guests of honor. And she said, let me just grab him and tell him, you're interested in eventually getting into the business. And he walked over and he said, do you have a manuscript? And I said, yes. And he pointed at two of the editors that were within, eye distance and said, send your manuscript to them in 10 days. And he said, that's to show that you are committed. I said, okay. So I'm like, great. Can I, at least you gave me 10 days because, I can go back and look at my manuscript and pray that it makes sense. And so, but I did, I sent it to them and each of them got back to me and were giving me some feedback because you when you're a writer, you don't know what you don't know. Mm-hmm. So they're like, oh, you need to work on this. You need to work on this. I would recommend you do this. But one of them said, if you're willing to make those changes, I will recommend this book for publishing under our, with our publisher, which at the time was, so Canon Publishing, which I ended up publishing a separate short story with them. They have a series of shared universes within that military sci-fi and urban fantasy settings. So I did a short story with them. The editor-in-chief was creating a fantasy publishing company called Celine Press because he wanted something that was a bit more, that could cater more to a fantasy crowd rather, and grow out from Canon, which was becoming more of the military science fiction side. And he said, well, I already had a manuscript pretty much in the works. We were making those edits. And he said, do you want to publish it under Celine? And I said, yes. And so as of 2 weeks, it has been published.
Nice. Awesome. And that just proves like over the last probably 5 years of doing these interviews with different authors, Jamie and I have built some really good relationships with a lot of authors. And it seems like that your story is the way to do it, because a lot of other authors, have similar stories where they've just been in the right place at the right time, spoken to the right person, and off you go. And that's, always, for me personally, I'm not a writer. I'm the reader of the podcast. Jamie's the writer. But for me, I could imagine once you get your first book published, in terms of nerves and anxiety, I'm sure they're still there, but I'm sure it lessens it a lot. Okay, I've got the relationship with the publisher. They're happy with my first book. They've published it. Does it make it easier in your mind to know, okay, the first book's done, I can now keep going?
In a way, it feels more like a job now. It's like, oh, okay, now it's written and now I have to keep writing because, there's a part 2 to this story. Oh, now I have to market it, which is, certainly important if you're an independent publishing, which I am, but I think even traditional publishers are now really pushing their writers to have a social media presence and build up a persona. So learning a lot of the ropes was really vital. And, and much of, a lot of what I knew about writing was stuff, like it's what you've absorbed over the years of reading stories, but having somebody who could step in and say, no, this is where you need work. This is where you're dropping off. And here are some resources to go to. Here is a person to talk to who is really good at this stuff. And that was what a few of them have said that are on the editing side of Canon have told me, that they're looking for people that they know they can work with. Yeah. So they don't expect your first book to be perfect, but they can recognize if you have the potential to learn from, learn and work with them. They want consistency, they want quality, and they also want responsiveness. So they want somebody who is willing to, to take their criticism and turn it around into something good. But you also get beta readers because they'll, the fellow authors, you can reach out to them and say, will you read, hey, this is my, my final draft before I send it to the editor. Will you look it over? And I had other authors with Canon who did that for me. I was able to do that, in fact, for another one of their authors who just put out the first of his new science fiction series and everything. So it's the relationships are really important.
Yes, it's what you want. Yeah, and like Ryan was saying, like the indie community is so helpful. Like people just support each other like nothing else. That's what I found. Maybe I'm just in the algorithm's working for all the nice people because I don't see any negativity out there.
We love that. Yeah, and I've heard horror stories of people who who stepped on one another, tried to push people down. There are, in every industry, there are people like that, but perhaps it is the nature of the indie scene that you have to grind a lot more. And if you can build, it's good for everybody to be supporting the resources in creating a good ecosphere that everybody can thrive in. And then of course, just you want to be able, when you know somebody, especially if you're going to the same conventions, you want to help them.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. And I got off Twitter when it was Twitter a long time ago because it was just so toxic and everything like that. And then I came back to X about halfway through, probably 3/4 of the way through last year. And I just have authors. So the authors we've had on the show, some of my favorite authors. And you know what? That it made X my most the social media that I go to the most because it's the most wholesome, and I can reach out to an author and I go, hey, I read your book, I really liked it. I'm gonna just letting you know, I put it because every book I read I review on Amazon and Goodreads because I know it helps out you guys, and I reach out and the fact that I can have conversations with authors for 30-40 minutes just back and forth on X. The community that we're a part of is absolutely amazing. All the authors are totally down to earth, reachable. And that's what I love about indie stuff. I absolutely love about indie stuff. Like my bookshelf and my digital bookshelf used to all be traditional published authors like, Stephen King, Dean Koontz, all those kind of people. And now it's all indie. I don't really have any traditional public. It's literally all those TBRs I mentioned off air are all indie. They're all indie authors. And I could not be more happier to be a part of that community, as I'm not a writer, I'm a reader, but I've been accepted into that community because of the podcast. So you are right. There are so many people out there that can help you. There's so many resources out there. And if there's any authors that are watching that are just getting started, you need to talk to people, talk to authors. I was scared to talk to authors when we started this podcast, but, indie authors are the most down-to-earth people. Just reach out and ask for help and you will get it back tenfold. So, 100% can agree with everything you said there.
And this is speculative on my part, but indie authors are most likely, this is not our full-time job. And so we have to be out in the world, which is key, not to finding stories, but, being able to engage with people and really appreciate the customer base that you are building and everything. So it really does encourage us to build up social skills that we need to have. And I am an introvert, so I mean, at the end of this con that I went to, I didn't want to do anything other than, lie at home and not talk to anybody, but you learn the skills, through regular interactions and everything.
I call myself a fake extrovert because I am very introverted, and I just force myself to talk to people.
We have to clarify, introvert is not antisocial.
I'm the same. I'm a massive introvert, but when I go out, I'm a social butterfly. Like, as I mentioned, my wife's in hospital at the moment. We were in the emergency department yesterday, and when she went in for some tests, I started talking to the person next to me. But when I got home, I just needed to sit in a quiet, dark room for a little bit just to wash the hundreds of people off me, you know? It's just, I get it. And you know what? I think that's why I relate to a lot of indie authors, because, you know, I feel like they're more like me.
Yeah.
And I think that's what attracts me to their books. And you know, I read the book. I still say, whenever I read a book and I finish a book, I'm like, I cannot believe that I've spoken to this person and I know this person, and you know, I've messaged them on X and we talk regularly. I cannot believe it, because to me, the indie books that I've read over the last 2 years have been tons and tons better than any traditional stuff I've ever read. And I have not read a bad indie book yet. There has not been an indie book that I've started that I have not finished and absolutely loved. Yes. And I'm sure I will be saying the same things when I finish your book as well, because I bought it just by looking at the cover. I'm like, yep, that's my cup of tea. I want to read that.
Yeah, I hope you do like it.
I'm sure I will, definitely.
Speaking of, let's bring it up and have a...
I thought that would be a good segue. Jamie.
It's more smoother than the Christopher Lloyd segue. This is a fantastic cover. Now I've got to ask, because you run in the same circles as Sam Robb. Is this the same cover designer, or because it looks similar?
I don't know if it's exactly the same designer, but it was all done through the same company. So they would have had probably, it would not surprise me if they went to a similar contact and said, design, here's the premise, make a cover out of that.
Yeah. It's just I can tell. Is this which publisher is this again?
So this is Celine.
Yes. Okay. Yeah.
Celine Press, I should say, just to clarify that.
Not just some lady called Celine.
Yes,
have a book.
Yeah. Canon Publishing, Celine Press.
Yep. Cool. Yeah. Because it definitely looks like the same style that I've seen from a lot of books that come out of there. So they've definitely probably got someone there that's going, slow down, I can't keep up with all this book design. So do you just want to tell us a little bit about the cover? Like, how much involved were you in the process, or did you just palm it off to them and go, whatever you like?
I've palmed it off to them. I trusted them. I mean, I've seen, some of I've got the book from the Fae Wars series that I worked in, so, I mean, I was pretty confident in what they would do.
Yeah.
I gave them a little bit of flack for having two. I think they show multiple trees screaming. I think if you'll know, in the book, it's actually one. So there's some dishonesty on the cover, but it looks, the way that the trees are framed and everything make it look.
Unless cool. The tree is like moving, it's like one of the Flash, when you see the Flash run, it's like.
But given the nature of what it does, it probably does feel for the people in this town like it is, coming from all over.
Yeah.
So on an allegorical sense, I don't know what the correct term would be. I think it is still accurate.
But it is very, very stunning cover. What do you think about it, Ron?
I loved it. Like I said to you, when I found it, I found it yesterday on Amazon. Once you sent me the run sheet, I looked at, and I think you mentioned to me before I went on Amazon that I think your words were, it looks really creepy, and I was like, yep, cool. I'm all about that. So I jumped on Amazon yesterday, and as soon as I saw the cover, I didn't even read anything about the blurb. I didn't read the synopsis. I saw the cover, and I'm like, yes, please, and bought it straight away, because I knew that, just from looking at the cover and seeing, getting a rough idea of what it's about is just, it's definitely going to be, right up my alley. So I love it. It looks, it looks like a good horror cover. It's got, darkness around it. It's got, obviously the entities in the book, the just obviously trees or a tree, sorry, and it's causing a lot of trouble for these for this young girl, and I'm sure for other people. So I'm looking forward to getting stuck into it when I finish my current book.
Yeah, it definitely evokes the setting. For me, you know, writing urban fantasy, the setting is so important. Basically it needs to be a character unto itself. And for me, I'm heavily inspired by, you know, much like how Stephen King was inspired by Maine, you know, and Lovecraft was inspired by the New England area. I've grown up in the American South, and we are very heavily. A lot of places around here are former textile towns, and so you know, when I grew up, age 3 to 4, maybe 5, you know, we had our backyard and we had a swing set at the very edge of the property line, and there was just a big brick wall, and I would swing and I would push off of the brick wall to gain momentum. And to me, that was just, you know, it was a wall. I did not conceive of the building that was a part of it, but I'm pretty sure that was an old textile factory that was pushed right up against our lot. And one week, we went up to visit my grandparents who live in Wisconsin, and we were there for several days. Came home late at night, and Mom and Dad put us kids to bed right away. And we woke up and we looked outside, and the wall was gone. It was just a pile of rubble.
Wow.
They had demolished it while we were gone, and we watched for the rest of the summer as they converted it into a parking lot. And so there's this automatic spooky element, and I lean more, you know, it's sort of like the difference between a horror movie and a slasher movie. You know, the horror movie is more about the mystery versus the spectacle. So I'm more for the mystery element of it and not the jump scare element. But there's just a natural haunting feeling to a lot of these old buildings that tower over everything else. They have the enormous smokestacks where they're, you know, the boilers used to be running at full steam, and some of them even have old machinery in them from those days when you would have hundreds or thousands of people coming in and working on a loom for however, you know, a couple of dollars a day back then. So you just imagine for the buildings that exist still, it just feels like something supernatural could move in when the humans move out.
No, definitely. And you know, I've read and seen enough horror to completely know if a building is abandoned or condemned, chances are you're going to get something in there that's going to, you know, either scare kids or brutally murder them. So either way, I'm happy with that. Do you want to give us a brief rundown of what the story of the Screaming Tree is? Like what basically for people who like the cover, but they're, you know, they want to know a little bit about the story before they make that purchase.
Yeah, well, the Screaming Tree is a character. It is, in fact, 2 characters. And there's a bit of an origin story behind that because it is based off of a real tree. But it's it divides this small town in Tennessee. It divides it perfectly east to west. And the first thing everybody notices about it is that it just looks dead. Nothing ever grows on it. No birds will ever nest in it. And yet it's always growing. But its most notable feature is that it has 2 knotholes on either side, which resemble faces. And they are each looking out over each side of town, which they have claimed as their own, because these 2 spirits that have been trapped within this tree for who knows how long do not like each other. And that is where screaming comes from. When their feud reaches a fever pitch, the screams can be heard throughout the town. And they're very fickle. They have special demands of how each side of town has to, you know, to look, what they have to do to keep the peace, which the people of this town have figured out and compiled into a series of rules. And so that is the dilemma that the new girl in town, she is a fairly young girl named Bia, who is moving in with her family into what looks to her like a dream home.
Mm-hmm.
It's bigger than anything her family's ever lived in. It certainly sold for a lot cheaper than it looks like it should have. So, but then they are handed a list of, here are the rules for your side of town. Follow them, and the tree will not hurt you. Things do not go according to plan, because one day she wakes up and there is a kind of a young man. He's basically hanging out in her mirror on her wall.
Oh, wow.
And he says, "I'm from the other side of town. I can't get out, I can't leave right now. I need you to protect me from my enemy who controls this side of town." So that is how she ends up in this whole mess, is protecting the spirit from the other side of town. And she goes a bit teen detective and decides, well, I'm going to figure out why. And that's where the story really kicks in.
So the first question I have is, when the family buys the home or moves into the home, were they not told, or was it just, or did they think it was a joke?
they were told, but that is the nature of the rules, is they seem rather benign when you look at them. It's like, okay, these are the rules on what you can paint the house, on what you can have outside. And there's reasons that they moved pretty quickly and thought, well, in the grand scheme of things, this is a pretty small inconvenience. But once they get there, things start to get a little bit more complicated.
I will say this, and Ryan will probably understand this, but like, I feel like these screaming trees just sounds like your typical Australian local council, like we will mess you up if you don't do these rules, because ours are pretty full on.
The first question that Bia asks her dad when she sees the rules is, "Are we part of a homeowners association?"
Yeah, no, it's a really, really cool concept. Where did it come from? Like, how did you build this myth or this story, however you want to see it?
Yeah, the tipping point, what really set this off, was my friend was getting married, and I was a bridesmaid in her wedding. So, like every bridesmaid who realizes, oh, I need to lose some weight. So suddenly I need to think about getting in shape. And so I started jogging quite regularly, and I developed a route around my neighborhood. And at the time I had been working on a different story, which I think I have shown it to one person, and it was getting very ambitious. It had all of these universes that were starting to collide. And I thought, okay, this is not ready. I need to set it aside. It had been my life for about 2 years. And I said, okay, I need something else. But I need to keep writing. I need something new. I challenged myself on one of these particular runs, said, I'm going to look at something around this route and see if I can create a completely different story out of it. And about 2/3 of the way through the route, I was focusing, in fact, on a tree that, as I got closer, I said, oh, it has this enormous knot hole on the side, and it looks like a screaming mouth, and a very unhappy screaming mouth at that. I thought, oh, that looks suitably disturbing. And then I came around the other side and saw the second knot hole, again, on the opposite side. And when you start to see that, your brain fills it in. I can't remember the scientific term for what they call it when you start seeing people or animals in shapes. It really did start to look like, a single, like two people trying to pull free from this tree, reaching from, either side. And so I ended my run. I would always end it at this coffee shop that's downtown. And I, grabbed my laptop and I sat it down on the counter where I would work. And I just started writing a backstory for what these two people, who they were, and the idea of them controlling a small town through these very capricious rules came about very quickly. The character of Bia, because that's the next step, is, okay, now I have a premise, and now I have to figure out the hero. And your hero is basically the person who looks at what everybody else just says, well, that's the way it is. your hero is usually the one who says, but is it though? Does it have to be that way? And that became Via. In fact, a lot of that character work that I wrote that day turned into, I think, chapter 1 or chapter 2 of the book, explaining who she was and how she ended up here.
That's amazing. So is the tree still there? Is it still around, or did it creep enough people out?
It is. But it's at the center of land that my city is turning into a garden, a big old community garden space. And so I was a little nervous when I woke up one day and they had put little pink ribbons around half of the trees.
Yeah.
And I saw a pink ribbon on mine. I went, oh no, what does that mean? And fortunately, I do freelance work for our local newspaper, and I go to the city council meetings. So I knew who to email, and I said,
do not.
You're used to me asking questions. You're used to me asking questions for the newspaper related to what they're voting on. I am asking a completely personal question. Is this tree going to make it? And he said, as far as I know, it is. So it is still up. And as far as I know, it will stay put.
That's right. Because I'm saying when this book, takes off and gets turned into a film, you'll have a little plaques underneath the tree. And this is the tree.
It would have turned me into a literal tree hugger. Holding on to it. Not this tree. Not this tree.
And they're like, no, it's not because I care about the environment. It's because I care about my story.
I care about my money. No.
How do you think I made this book? I cut down trees, not this tree. Oh, that's great.
I think the trope in going back to the story, I think the trope of a family buying a beautiful big house for way under what it's worth is one of my few favorite tropes in a horror movie or TV show. Always know, the dad will say, the kid will be like, I don't want to move out into this small town, and the dad will be like, well, we got a really good deal on this big house, and you have your own bedroom, and it's never ends well, and it is one of my all-time favorite tropes of horror. So I'm definitely looking forward to reading that, because whenever that happens, it never ends well.
No. No, one of my favorite lines that I wrote in here is they start asking, well, what happened to the person who, the people who lived here before? And they said, well, there was a man, he was very old, he fell down the stairs. And at this point, we started to put things together, and she leans over to one of the people that she's now making friends with. She goes, what happened? How did he fall down the stairs? And I can't remember. Like he says, well, they haven't proved it wasn't an accident. So, he's really cagey.
I like that kind of stuff. They're the movies that I only can watch by myself, because my wife does not like horror. She gets scared really easily. So while she's in hospital, I'm watching all the horror movies on the big screen. That I normally have to watch on my tablet at night in bed. So
that's a whole new experience. It's a lot bigger now.
Like she's the only one will watch are the slashers, like the Friday the 13th, Halloween, that kind of thing, Scream, anything supernatural, like what your book is sounding like. She's like, no, I'm out.
No, I'm out.
So I'm really looking forward to reading that. 100%. I literally think that it is. I say it a lot, but I think this is going to be my next read after I finish the current arc that I'm on, which I'm at about 78% now. So I'm very close. I'm really looking forward to checking it out.
I'm with you on I'm looking over at the book series. Hang on, I have it off to the side that I'm reading now. In terms of fantasy in the science fiction, this is what I've been reading.
Oh, wow,
right now.
Yeah.
This is the second in the series. This is you compare it to mine.
Well, that's the thing. I have this rule when it comes to horror movies. I know it's going to be a good horror movie if it goes for no longer than 1 hour and 45 minutes. Because all the horror movies I generally watch are between an hour and 20 and an hour and 45. So the same applies to books. If I'm reading a fantasy, I know it's going to be like a 3.5 hour Lord of the Rings epic. So it's going to might take me a couple of weeks to read it. But I know with a horror book, like for example, the last horror book I read, not the last horror, but one of the horror books I read this year from one of my favorite horror authors, Janelle Schiecke, was Spider, and I finished that in a night because it was only 123 pages. So I like to have that, like my entire TBR is literally half fantasy, half horror. That's it. So I like to alternate so I don't get sick of one genre. And especially with the fantasy arcs I'm reading, the one I read before, this one I'm reading is 330 pages. The one I read before was 498. So they're big chocolate. There's a lot going on.
Yeah.
So I really, really like, having a little bit of a break in between reading the fantasy. And horror is my genre. It's my favorite genre for everything, for games, movies, TV shows, books, comics, everything. So,
real life.
Real life, yeah. No, but I definitely tend to err more towards your book's style of story in the horror genre. So yeah, I know I've said it like 20 times already in this interview, but I'm really looking forward to reading it.
Yeah.
Thank you. I was not, it was funny when I started writing it, I didn't think of it in terms of horror. And maybe, I don't know exactly why that was, even though you would say, but didn't you literally started with the idea of a cursed tree, like that's trying to attack. Why, perhaps it was because I grew up on mystery novels, Boxcar Children, and then graduated to Nancy Drew and Trixie Belden, who were all the teen detective types of stories. Although some of those could get really scary. Nancy Drew had a knack for getting kidnapped and locked up in dark corners that you weren't quite sure how she was going to get out of. And so it was only, when I started working with the editor, they started promoting it as horror. I went, is it really horror though? I thought it was urban fantasy. And then I started thinking about all of the things I didn't know.
Hang on, I'm murdering people.
There's yeah. Okay. Yeah. These are horror tropes. I get it. Yeah.
I mean, there is, and I know this is going to make me sound really silly, but there is a fine line between horror and a lot of the fantasy, because I just finished reading about a week and a half ago. I finished reading probably the best fantasy book I've read this year, which is Michael Vadley's Crownfall, and a lot of people die in that book, like massively. It's and you know what? They're just done in different ways. So urban fantasy, you could still classify your book as that, and it's just a darker urban fantasy because it does involve, cursed things and entities and stuff like that.
Yeah. Well, and some of the best horror is the stuff that's just implied.
Yeah. Yes.
That's what I love.
When you start thinking about it, and the one that I thought, I was on a panel at LibertyCon this past weekend, and it was on about the allure of dark fantasy and everything. And as our moderator pointed out, there are a lot of dark fantasy elements in Lord of the Rings, which nobody thinks of. But, and Tolkien certainly, I mean, this was a man who had seen the horrors of that real life can throw at you just in his own life. But, and his philosophy was to really, to show, like the how dark it can get, but that elevates the light of the heroes, that they are willing, their heroism shines through their willingness to go up against such terrible things. But I use the example of the short story, The Birds, which was ultimately source material for the Hitchcock film. It's primarily just the atmosphere of the family being trapped in their home with the windows all boarded up, and they can hear the birds, and they, and then they start thinking about their neighbors who were not prepared, and it was so haunting that to go to bed, I had to walk up this a flight of stairs, and there were these big windows overlooking the staircase. I ran past them for a year. I'm sure if I was a night owl, so I would always be the last person to bed. My parents would be in bed and they would hear me walking up the stairs, and then the last steps would be boom, 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 boom.
The last push. Yeah.
Yeah. I totally agree about I not that I haven't had any scares from horror because I'm just weird. But the implied horror, the I much prefer the horror where you can hear it but you can't see it, as opposed to seeing the thing in front of you and it just murdering you. Like you were saying with the birds, they boarded up all the windows, they can still hear it. And the whole thing of you sitting there thinking, are they going to get through? Are they going to find a way to get through? Rather than just having them straight up attack you, with nothing. That horror is, to me, in my opinion, 10 times more terrifying than seeing, a demon or a serial killer or something in front of you, and they're like, I'm going to kill you. But the implied horror is like, where is it? Where's it coming from? That would be a lot more terrifying, I think.
Yeah. Well, we've all been there where we're going about our day and we're used to the sounds of that. And then there's another sound or it's slightly different. Oh, what was that? And you're that is when your imagination kicks in. Like you said, see it.
Yeah. Yep. I two stories, but the first one, I live in a town where there's only one street with streetlights. So it's like surrounded by national park. So a few times, this would probably be 20 years ago, I went for a walk, and there was two girls sitting on their front porch of their house. It was pitch black. They were just sitting there going, yeah, and then I just for a joke, I just stopped and went, I just made a like that, and they were like, literally like, did you hear that? And then I waited, and I got a little louder, and then they ran inside screaming. So that was stuff like that. But Ryan, back on your not being creeped out by horror movies, do you think would be different if, let's say that, I don't know, you watch Blair Witch Project for the first time and then you found yourself in the woods? Like, would that increase the chance of you being creeped out? Or did the fact that you just watched it?
Me personally, no, not at all. But I think with normal people, 100%.
But have you tried that though? That's the thing.
Well, you made the suggestion, I think, a couple of episodes ago that, let's go in the woods with a projector and watch the Blair Witch Project. Would you be freaked out? And I'm not really.
Yeah, but how do you know if you haven't tried it though?
I am willing to try. Like, my goal in life, Claire, is to find a horror movie that will scare me.
Unless it has spiders, because he's terrified of spiders.
I'm a massive arachnophobe. I cannot deal with spiders or anything like that.
Spiders are real fruit in your neck of the woods. Like
yes. Well, even last night when I got home from the hospital at about 9:10 at night, and I'm in a wheelchair because I lost my leg a couple of years ago. So I have a driveway that I normally just zoom straight down, get to the front door. And I was trying to unlock the front door with no light because I stupidly didn't put the porch light on. And then it came on with the motion sensor finally. Because I'm in a wheelchair, it generally doesn't pick up the motion because I'm not tall enough. So I have to normally push myself up like that to get lights to come on. And the light came on, and I was trying to get the key in the door, and I looked to my right, and it wasn't big. It wasn't big at all. It was probably about that big, but it was I would say an adolescent version of a spider we have called the huntsman. In Australia.
Those are the big ones, right? Aren't they?
Yeah. And I swear to God, I was thinking, I'm glad I didn't do it. I was thinking of just hitting it, but my walls are brick, and I would have damaged my hand. So I literally undid the door, got straight in quicker than I reckon the Flash could have done it. I was in, grabbed the fly spray. I have a little, my door has a little, about that big little window thing that I can open to see outside. And I saw it and I sprayed it through the window thing. And then this morning when I took some rubbish out, it was definitely gone. but I plan on leaving its body there as a warning to any other spiders that if you want to come in here, this is what's going to happen to you.
Now, are the huntsman spiders are big, but they're not poisonous?
No, they're not. Okay. Not at all. And you know what? They do a lot for our. They do a lot for our ecosystem and our environment, and I wish I could get behind that, but I just cannot. If I see it, I've got to kill it. I can't just like my wife will catch them in the house and put them in the garden. I'm like, no, I need to know that sucker's dead before I sleep.
As if it's alive, it can hear that.
Yeah, exactly. And but yeah, back to what we were saying. I've been searching for a horror movie to kind of scare me. You know, the only thing that gives me jump scares, and to me that's not really scaring me, it's sort of just like shock, is so I play a lot of video games. So the latest of the Resident Evil games has a lot of jump scares in terms of things just popping out in front of you. And I normally play on my laptop with my headphones. So if my wife's watching TV and I just jump a bit, she's like, "You playing Resident Evil?" I said, "Yeah, I am." But I haven't found a horror movie that has, you know, given me nightmares or, you know, scared me or, you know, made me want to go home and watch a happy comedy movie or anything after I've seen it. But that doesn't mean I don't enjoy the horror movies. I love them. I love the stories. I just know when the jump scares are going to come, even if I haven't seen the movie before. You can tell. And it's so funny when I'm in the cinema watching it and there's, you know, young people and they just scream that they're scared. And I'm just like, amateurs, seriously.
Yeah. And then someone grabs you from behind in the cinema and you're like, "Wah!" and he's like, "Amateur."
My support worker, Ali, he's the guy that drives me to the movies. He comes to the movies with me every week. He has tried that. He asked, he goes, "I'm not going to tell you when or where, but I'm going to do it to you." He's tried it and it didn't work on me.
Because this is a story that I only just remember going way back when with Chris Ryan, and we were in a cinema watching. I can't remember what movie we were watching. It was something creepy was happening. And there's a guy that we knew 3 rows down, and we kind of could know the jump scare was coming. So I had a Malteser and I stood up and I pegged it into his popcorn bucket at the perfect time, and it was put popcorn in the face, and he was just like, "Ah!" And it was just, wish I had a camera.
Yeah,
I haven't had anything that dramatic. I do remember when I went to see Nosferatu in the theaters. There was one scene where, you know, it's like at first I'm looking at it going, okay, this is building up to a jump scare, and then it keeps going. I thought, or is it building up to a subversion where it isn't a jump scare? You're just supposed to feel that dread. I think it was a pan to an empty set of stairs or something along those lines. Where I mean, I was sitting there trying to dissect. Okay, what is the scare going to be?
That was a top movie. That's what my wife's favorite horror movie is. The original Nosferatu came out in, well, the second one that came out in the 70s. But yeah, the new one we watched with Bill Skarsgård, that was phenomenal. And Nicholas Hoult as well. He was perfect for it. So yeah, very good movie.
Yeah, all of the stuff when Jonathan's in, I can't remember, it was still Jonathan, right? It's the name of the character. I know there's different Dracula movies, so I was trying to think if I was remembering it correctly. But all of the stuff when he was in the Bolivian region, I loved that stuff. And that has, what's his name now? He's a British actor. Aaron. He was the one that played the family friend who was married.
I honestly can't remember. I can't use my phone to Google it. I'll get Jamie to Google it. Because if I'm on a hotspot, if I touch my phone, the internet will drop out. So.
What is the movie?
Pull it up right now. Aaron Taylor Johnson. He's an actor. I've started seeing him.
I keep forgetting he's
Kick-Ass.
Yeah, I keep forgetting he's actually British. Yeah, I forget.
Yeah, he's one of those. Just every time he's in a movie, I go, he's really good.
Yeah.
He was in Bullet Train with Brad Pitt, and I really enjoyed that. The two of them were.
There's a new movie that just came out on streaming. I think I saw it at the movies called Fuse, Fuze, where he actually used his real voice, his English accent. That was phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal, that movie. So he is a really good actor.
Yeah, he's very charismatic.
Well, he started young. He's in the he's in Shanghai Nights.
Really?
Oh, that goes back a bit.
Yeah, he's a little kid, with his real accent. Yeah, because I love those movies. It's like going back because one of Christian Bale's first movies was Little Women, and he was like a little whippersnapper. Before he became one of the best actors in the world. Because people keep forgetting he's British. But I think he said recently that like people get shocked that he's not like American.
It's like Hugh Laurie. You know, so many people go, wait, he's British.
Yeah.
Well, he fooled the casters of House, because his American accent was flawless.
Yeah, it was very good.
Anyway, we that's a massive tangent we just wandered off on. Let's get back to books.
That's all right.
is the Screaming Trees a standalone sequel? Are you going to build the universe? Like, what's happening with that?
It's going to be at least 2 books. I'm working on the second book now, which is very close to being done. But the benefit of this one being out is, going back and looking at things and going, I need to, this is something I need to flesh out. Yeah. There's, at least one villainous character that I need to, that I'm like, I need to give this person more stuff to do, because now that I'm looking at everything within the broader context, it's very helpful if you're a writer to step back from your work for a little while.
Yep.
And everything, because it also helps because it means that when you finally finish, a series, then at least you've probably begun work on another project.
Yeah.
And have some groundwork to move on to the next thing. So there'll be at least a second book. I have some ideas, certainly, for perhaps a subsequent third book, which I still need to put a little bit more thought into that one.
Now, same characters, sort of thing. Does a new family move to the neighborhood?
The third book would follow a different character.
Okay.
There's the way that I see, I won't spoil anything that happens to be it, but I feel that her, like, by the end of book 2, she will be in a satisfying place where she, like, a good spot to end it. And so, but there are other characters, there's some mysteries that are never fully answered. They're just part of that, but there is at least, a few other characters who, as the result of everything, have a lot more growing to do, I can say.
Well, that was a question that I was going to ask when you mentioned it was, there was going to be a second book. Did you end the first book on, a bit of a cliffhanger, or is it just, there are unresolved issues within that story that you feel like you need to resolve in the second book?
Do you want it spoiled?
No, not spoiled, but like,
So there's.
Is there a cliffhanger that's going to make you go, yeah, I need to read book 2? You don't have to tell us what it is.
So. I think there's definitely that you'll want to go and, get the next book and finish everything. But naturally, the nature of it is with this book, she's got 2 spirits to deal with. And what I like about it is that each of them, the more you unpack, you realize that each of them have a side, naturally they both think that they're in the right for this whole fight that's been ongoing. There's a reason they haven't let go of it after all of these years. So she finds a lot of information from the perspective of one of them, but the next book will focus a bit more on the other. And that might make her question what she's learned in the first book.
Yeah, awesome. Well, yeah. I mean, I was going to buy the second book anyway without even reading the first one, but I just thought I'd check when you said, because normally there's not a lot of horror that sort of carries over, or has a sequel in terms of like yes, they do have sequels, but completely different stories, if you know what I mean. Like, there's not much horror, and many horror books, movies, whatever, that continue on from the first book. So I just wanted to clarify that.
Well, it's like, how many Final Destination movies are there? Or what, it's
Yeah,
the same.
exactly. Yeah,
You get a different set of people.
Yeah.
correct. Yeah, correct. Yeah, and that's just a horror thing. Like, they do that to death. Friday the 13th, they had. We've got 11 Friday the 13th movies. We've got, I can't even count how many Halloween movies now, because they've rebooted the universe so many times.
Yeah.
It's but I feel like when you have a story and it's, it is a traditional sequel where there's still unresolved things that need to be sorted out. And from the first book, I feel like that is more intriguing than, the same villains but different people coming into the same situation, if you get me.
Yeah. No, it's the book originally was just one book, and I started making the edits working with my editor. I really, there was stuff that needed to be filled out and added more to, and so what happened was the word count got
bigger,
pretty long, and he's like, all right, well, we have an option now, because either you truncate it back down, with all of that stuff, or we split it into two books.
Yeah.
And that was the route that we decided to go with. So this was originally one story, but I saw there was a pretty obvious point in the middle of it where I could break, where she's resolved some things, but there are, certainly are still more questions have been raised along the way to finding answers, and those can be covered in a second book.
Yeah,
awesome.
I know the feeling. I'm working on a sequel to one of my books right now, and I'm a 14K words into it, and I'm feeling like this may have to be 2 books, which means the series is now going to be 4 books. Ryan's cheering.
Yes.
I'm just like, it's more work than I.
Well, technically it'll be 5 books at the moment, including the prequel that you wrote.
Yeah. Well, and you want me to do like a trilogy of prequels.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, geez.
Yeah. Well, you left. There's like 100 or 150 years in between where the prequel ends and the main story begins, and there's so much more stuff I want to know about.
Well, just ask me, I'll tell you.
No, I just want you to write it. I want you to put that effort in. I want to read your thoughts in paper form.
Well, and there's it's tricky too. It's figuring out, okay, well, how do you, if it's a second book, how do you produce things and stuff, and that, that you were thinking of, because when it's just one book, you're thinking, okay, I already introduced this character in chapter 2. Everybody knows who they are, or should at least remember them. But now I might have to give them a bit more of a story. I started seeking out some books that were, the second or third in a series, deliberately starting with them just to see, okay, how do they handle this? Which in some cases of the books is literally just, nope, here's the book. Here we're hanging out with all these characters, and we expect you to know them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you never quite know.
Yeah. We could do like I think I mentioned this before. We had someone on the podcast, Trinity Cunningham, and she wrote a trilogy of books, but she wrote them backwards, like released them backwards. So the third one, and then it's like a prequel, then a prequel, then But
that's a good way to do it.
Yeah, because that's what I'm finding, because I've building this world, which is essentially like 300 years of coverage, pretty much, and I'm going like, how do I tie all this in together? I don't want to miss something. I don't want to, forget something. And I'm constantly having to go, thank God there's search. You can search in, Kindle, and you can search in all the books and you just write a word, or you write a character, and it'll go, this is, there. I can go and see what they said. And how do I describe them?
Yeah, if it gets too long, I'm going to have to, too extensive, I'm going to have to develop like a little wiki for myself.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay, I need all the background on this character. I haven't looked at them in a year. Click on their name, see what their background is.
Yeah. Cool. We've been going a little while, so before we jump into our game, the question I like to ask, and I've forgotten to ask a few times in the last couple of episodes, but like, you've just got this new book out. So, with everything that led up to it, is there any advice that you would, or anything that you've learned along the way, or any advice that you'd give to someone who's maybe on a similar path to you?
Man, I would definitely, really find those editors or beta readers who will give you good criticism from the beginning and be open to that criticism is really important, because I think I said earlier, you don't know what you don't know, and so to have somebody who can point at this and you can tell the difference between, I know some, younger writers especially are worried about being told, oh, this, there's a problem here. But you can tell the difference between the criticism that is designed to give you a pathway to move further on and fine tune your work, versus somebody who's just, being a jerk. So yeah, I mean, really focusing on that, and then building up. Writing is a discipline is the other key thing, and when you make that jump from, okay, I'm just writing as a hobby and for the sake of, it being fun, and that is a great thing to do, but when you start committing to the published route, it does become a discipline, and it's one I'm still working on. You have to find time to write. You have to figure out what works, best for you. Do you set aside time for world building on these days? Or if I go into, I call them research rabbit holes, or I will start looking up. It's like, I just need the name of this piece on the second story of this castle, and I don't know. And then, I'm 20 tabs later, and realized, oh, I haven't done writing. So, I try to schedule out my writing time to do that. But it's a bit like an exercise workout. You have to, you do it constantly, and you have to do it on days that you don't feel like doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have a lot of authors that will say, I'm committing myself to, I need to write 500 words in one day, or 300 words per day, whether I feel like it or not. And that's the discipline that I believe. I mean, as I said, I'm not a writer, but I believe it is good to have. If you can do that, even on, like you said, days that you don't want to, I think you're gonna get things done. And within, I think they say it takes 21 days for something new to actually feel like it is part of your life. So I think once you get to that period, you'll be able to do it like that. You'll be okay, I'm going to up it to 700 words a day or whatever. But as long as you're doing something every day, I think that's going to be a good way to do your writing.
And don't beat yourself up if you get into a rut, where you miss a couple of days because, whatever was going on in life was affecting you.
Life gets in the way. Life gets in the way.
Yeah. And a lot of the authors I've talked to, they say, yeah, sometimes you have days where you come home and it's been an exhausting day at work and you have no creativity left. I deal with that because of the fact that my job involves writing for public relations. That's a different type of writing. And my brain does not shift from writing what is essentially a marketing template to writing what is a fantasy fiction template. It's very difficult. I try to get a lot of my writing done on the weekends or early in the mornings before I start work, because I know that I haven't had time to get my brain like locked into the marketing jargon that I have to deal with.
So you don't have random characters in your stories, just start marketing to people for no reason. It's just
it's funny how, and this is a YA book, so it's on the probably on the milder side of horror, and everything. And since this is the first convention I've been to where I had the book available, it was learning how to market the book to different people. Is this a person who wants the horror side? You play that up. You play up the creepy side of it. But sometimes if you start talking to somebody, you realize they're a bit more on the fence, and then you and the funny thing is that one of the most marketable things in this book has been my main character's cat.
Nice. Yeah, I get it. I'm a cat lover. I own 2 cats. If a cat is in the book, I will buy your book.
Yeah. So yeah, black cat named Eddie. And so my next door neighbor, she recently rescued a litter of feral kittens that have been living in our neighborhood, and she's given them, a nice little outdoor enclosure and is taking care of them and feeding them. And so she wants to acclimate them to humans so that they can be eventually adoptable. One of them is a solid black cat with green eyes, which is exactly how I described Eddie, this black cat that belongs to my main character. I went, and I said, do you mind if I, come over and take pictures of him so that I can use them on my social media? So if I ever write anything about Eddie, this cat, now he's still he's still on the nope side of hanging out. Some of his siblings have become a bit more friendly, but he still, if I get too close to the enclosure, he finds a hiding place. But I've gotten a few shots just looking up at me
going judging.
Awesome. And I'm like, oh, you're gonna be perfect.
Their cats are very, very judgmental. Like ours are both 13, so they're at the stage where we've had them for 13 years, and they're like, okay, we love you, we understand, you feed us, you give us a nice house to live in. But when they're when they were both babies, it took a lot. Like cats are a lot harder to get on your side than dogs are. Dogs love everyone, but the cats, you have to be patient. And you have to let them come to you on their time. Yeah. You can't just go straight to them and pick them up and go, You have to let them come to you and be comfortable with you before you can do any of that. So, yeah.
Oh,
yeah. I saw a great meme the other day, and it was like, cats always look at you like you've just asked if they'll pick you up from the airport.
Yeah.
I remember there was one meme I saw years back. It was like the dog diary. It's today my human and I played and he loved me and he gave me food and I love him back and it's so wonderful. And then that's the cat diary, and it starts with day 291 of my captivity.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, when I got home, because I'm in a wheelchair, I can't just leave the cats in the lounge room when I try and get out of the door because they will run because they're indoor cats. So I put them in the bathroom with plenty of food, plenty of water, clean litter tray. We have a heat lamp in the bathroom. They both love it when the heat lamp's on, so they can I put that on. I normally feed them at about 6 o'clock every night. The last night I didn't get home till 9, and I got the worst. The worst. When I opened the door, they were both looking at me like, "What time do you call this?" And yeah, exactly. And then they went straight over to the food bowl. So I went over. I fed them before I fed myself or anything like that. And about an hour later, they were coming up and rubbing on me again. They're like, "We love you again now."
Yeah.
But then the same thing will happen tonight when I put them back in the bathroom after this podcast. I'm going back to the hospital. They're used to roaming free in the house and sleeping on the bed and sleeping on the couch and everything. But nothing, like I could leave them in there with, the best premium, most expensive food of all, and they would still be shitty with me when I go home.
Yeah.
Just push the couches in there, Ryan. Before you leave.
There's no way I can. You've seen my bathroom. There's no way I can fit a couch in there.
Yeah. Right. Additional advice to any writer: if you have a pet, turn them into your marketing. They are your social media influencer. Just you could find them doing the most ridiculous things. If they sit on your keyboard when you're trying to write, take a picture, get that online. Everything. I don't have any pets of my own right now, but I mean, I have a few friends who have said, "Oh yeah, you can take pictures of my dog or doing other funny things and just find an excuse to put it on your social media channels."
That's it.
I think it might have actually been, I'm trying to look on my Kindle app now. I think it might have been it might have been Sam Robb. I'm not sure, but someone we interviewed had a book. Oh, here it is. Yeah, Sam Robb, Recall Notice, and it's got a cat on the front cover, and I bought it without even asking what it was about because of the cat. And then he told me what it's about, and I'm like, dude, this is amazing. The talking cat and everything. I'm all for it. And, but because the cat was on the front cover, I'm like, I'm going to buy this. Mm-hmm. And we did a story pitch episode where we have a whole bunch of authors on, or maybe it was about a topic or something. But one of the guests we had on, Jesse James Fain, told me about an anthology, which is, I can't remember what it's called, but the front cover has a hamster in like knight's armor. And I'm like, I'm going to buy that. And I bought it. And I didn't, it was like, it's like an anthology story of stories that he's a part of. And yeah, like I'm 44 years old. If you put an animal on the front cover, I'm going to buy it.
I don't think Eddie made it onto this one. There are a few animals in this one. I think, like, I went with the trope of the animals tend to always be one step ahead of all of the humans when it comes to the magic stuff. So the birds,
I do have one
what's
question,
going on. Yeah.
I do have one question, and this might be a little spoiler, but that's cool. Do any of the animals die in the book?
You're not the first one to ask that.
Because I don't take animal deaths well.
Yeah, if you don't want the spoiler, all of you viewers, please plug your ears. The animals have way too many adventures to go on to be dying. So, in my opinion, and also it had become a running joke for me, my generation, that every book that we got in school, if there was a dog, the dog was going to die at the end. Like, I mean, it was just about every book that the joke was, if it's a dog and an award sticker on the cover, that dog is dead by the end. So, perhaps as a result, I have said, I'm not doing that again.
Here you go, Ryan.
Good.
War hamster.
That's it, war hamster. And I saw that and I'm like, that is adorable. I need to buy that right now.
That's edited by JR.
That's the one thing about horror movies. Like, I love the Conjuring series of, Ed and Lorraine Warren, the real life paranormal investigators. But in every single Conjuring movie, the dog is the first one to get killed by the spirit. And it just makes me, like, if I were to give it a rating, it would drop down 1 star just because the animal didn't live. Yeah, I always like to ask the question, because if the animal does die, I like to be prepared. Because me and my wife, we don't have kids. We can't have kids. So our animals are our children, and we love them like they are people. So yeah, I do sometimes get a bit emotional when if I'm attached to an animal in a story on a movie, TV show, book, whatever, and it does pass away, then it does affect me. So I always like to ask.
I have not seen the movie yet, but did you go see Good Boy?
Yep. I didn't go see it. It wasn't in the cinemas in Australia, but when it came on streaming, I saw it. I already knew that
the dog would live.
The dog didn't die in the movie.
That was
because I wouldn't have watched it.
Internet discourse of that dog better not die.
And you know what? That movie, I also listened to a podcast after I watched that movie with the writer and director, how they got Indy, the dog, to do all the everything that they do. And it's just it's phenomenal. It was such a good movie. And then there was a point where it's like maybe they were lying and the dog doesn't make it, and then the dog does make it, and everything was all right with the world. But yeah, it was very, very good movie. Very, very good movie. And that dog is absolutely amazing. The expressions on its face and the way it reacted to everything was just perfect.
Yeah. I do want to see it one day, but I like a lot of people, went ahead and spoiled myself and just looked up, does the dog survive?
Oh, yeah. I 100%, and I knew it was going to spoil the ending, but I would not have watched it if the dog didn't make it. I definitely wouldn't have watched it. And yeah.
There you go. Well, we're encroaching on the 2-hour mark, so let's get this game underway. Are you up for a game, Claire?
Sure, why not?
Now, I'm just saying.
I may crash and burn, but that's go out like
everyone who says that.
Glory.
Everyone who says that does a great job. Okay, so the game is called Story Pitch. There's a setting, a genre, a main character, and a crazy addition. You get to pick a number between 1 and 12 for each of the categories, and we'll tell you what they are, and you got to pitch us a story. Now, there's 4 graphs to choose from, so there's 2 rounds. So I will say that the further along the graphs go, the genres get more sub-genres. So graph 4 is a little more sub-genre-y. And so basically, graph 1's easy, graph 4's probably a little harder. So you can choose between 1 and 4 on the graphs, and then 4 numbers for each category.
Okay. So I go ahead and pick the numbers now, or
just give us a graph.
Pick the graph.
The graphs are just
4
graphs.
Between 1 and 4, there's 4 different graphs. So I pick the graph first. So a number between 1 and 4.
All right. I'll go with 2 then.
2,
yeah. And then give us 4 numbers for that graph.
Between 1 and 12.
Yeah.
2 and 12. Okay, so first number will be 5. Second number will be 8.
Yep.
Third number will be 4.
Yes.
And the fourth number, I'll go with 9.
All right. Okay, so your setting, according to your number, hang on.
We've had this one a few times.
Is an old lady's high tea party.
Old lady's high tea party.
Yeah, that's where the story is going to take place. Your genre, which is not too far outside your wheelhouse, it's grim dark fantasy.
A grim dark old lady tea party. Okay, so your main character is a mad scientist.
Okay.
And your crazy addition, which is someone or something that must appear in the story, even if it's just for 5 seconds. And yours is a butcher, a baker, and a candlestick maker.
So, you've got a grim dark fantasy set at an old lady's high tea party. Your main character's a mad scientist, and you've got to involve a butcher, a baker, and a candlestick maker.
Okay. Remind me, for the sake of this, the uncultured American here, what classifies as high tea?
High tea. Okay, well, it's
like
just...
it's like it happens at most clubs, not nightclubs, but like veterans clubs or where old ladies can get together. They have like little cakes and pastries and have tea.
It's a fancy tea party, pretty
much. Fancy tea party, which usually happens around midday.
Yeah.
So that's why they call it a high tea party.
Yeah.
Because it's high noon kind of thing.
I think the equivalent wouldn't necessarily be tea, but it would. We used to have more of these. They were sometimes called bees. B-E-E.
Okay.
It's like a quilting bee or a singing bee. So it was it was the old ladies get together and put together nice all the good home cooked food.
Yeah.
All right. So a butcher, a baker, a candlestick maker. I'm gonna say that the characters are going to crash the old lady's high tea party. Like they literally crash through the fence or out of the woods, running for dear life from the mad scientist who's been stealing people, snatching them off of the street.
Okay.
In the dead of night, in which the first, Um, and it's because needs he needs to satisfy an old god,
Okay.
one of the old ones. So he's creating something. What would it be?
You don't necessarily have to tell us what he's creating. It's mainly just like a pitch meeting.
You can bullet point it, and it can be
Yeah,
as
like
vague as you want.
yeah.
Yeah.
But I
The
like the
butcher
idea that you had of the
butcher
scientist sort of
slaughtered.
kidnapping people.
Yeah. The butcher slaughtered an animal that was sacred to that old god.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And now
The baker cooked it.
Baker made it into a meat pie. The candlestick maker was
set the mood.
Yeah. The candlestick maker is a minion to the mad scientist.
Oh, okay. Oh, I like it. I like it.
He uses the candlesticks to go around, and they're actually cursed candlesticks.
Yeah.
And places them in secret places. Maybe they got mixed up and went to the old lady's high tea party, and that has attracted, instead of going to the house, or to the place that they were supposed to go, to the mad scientists that were part of this ritual to satisfy the old god, in which he had slaughtered the butcher and the baker as vengeance. Or at least he was about to, and he's left them horrifically maimed, but they are now running for dear life, and they all get attracted to the old lady's high tea party because that is where the candles are. It just lures them all in.
There you go. See, you got there in the end.
Yeah.
I like it. Definitely, I would definitely approve it and fund it. In my opinion, it's something I'm definitely interested in.
You should receive. So at the Sam Robb led one of the panels at LibertyCon, and it was about world building. So he had us go down the line. There were 5 or 6 of us total. And he said each of you add an element that you would find in urban fantasy or a horror setting, and it was somewhat comical. The first woman at the end said, if necromancy could become a licensed profession. And then we all started building off of that. I think I added the element of, well, what if the government sold it to the necromancy to the lowest bidder? What would happen there? And so it started to sound very comical. And by the time we got to the end, we went, we have just created the most horrific reality.
He's very good at this game. He's been on a few times.
He was on one of our, I think he was on our world building episode.
No, he was story pitch. Second one. I think it was the second one.
Okay.
Or the first. Second.
Yeah.
Maybe the first. I think it might have been. I can't remember. No, I think it was the first.
Yeah.
I'm going to say it's the first. There's been a lot. I
think we've done 5 now of those. So.
Yep. And getting ready for number 6. If anyone out there wants to join the chaos. But for now, let's do one more round, and then we can let you go, Claire.
Okay.
Now, you did graph 2, so you can do graph 1, 3, or 4.
Okay. Well, I'm curious as to what 1 holds.
Okay. The easy option.
Is it?
Yeah. Well, it is a lot easier. I say that
it's
now.
also late at night, so that's probably the smarter thing.
knock on wood, because we don't know what you're going to do. So
either that, or my brain will go in a completely wild direction.
All right. 4 numbers.
Okay. 12. 11. 3.
Yeah.
10. And what was the number I haven't used?
No, it doesn't matter. It's a different graph, so you can say it doesn't matter what number.
Oh, that's right. All right. 6.
6.
Okay.
We've had a few of these combinations before. 2 of them line up, but this is going to be
the setting.
fun.
I don't think we've had before, which is good.
There you go. Your setting is an ice tundra.
And your genre is just plain, standard, good old-fashioned fantasy.
Your main character, however, is a dance instructor.
But this profession may fit in with the crazy addition, because your crazy addition, which is someone or something that must appear in the story, even if it's just for 5 seconds, is the entire cast of the Hamilton, the musical. So you can see how it works with dance instructor.
Yeah. It's like two parts work. You got a fantasy set on in an ice tundra, and then you got a dance instructor and the entire cast of Hamilton the musical.
I'm going to show my ignorance here. What is an ice tundra?
It's just like an ice planet kind of ice.
Oh, okay, cool.
Think Hoth from
Yeah, I gotcha.
Yeah.
From Empire Strikes Back, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. All right. On an ice tundra, an team of explorers uncover an artifact that awakens a group of, what are the names of the fairies that inspired like the mad dancing in mythology?
Oh yeah, the constant dancing until they die. Oh, I can't remember the name of it.
Look it up.
Yeah, I'll have to look. I'm thinking of like Bacchus from Greek mythology right now. Maybe it's one of, but there were, hundreds, thousands of nymphs and dryads in Greek mythology. So it could have been any one of them. So it's one of the ones that demands frantic, unstoppable dancing. And so in a desperate attempt to save them, because their mission is life-saving for the future of Earth, so they have to be they summon in, let's just say magic here is a given on Earth now. Okay. So they get somebody who can just teleport the dance instructor in, and perhaps the dance instructor is forced to consider making the difficult choice of either teaching, the dance instructor is thinking, I'm going to teach them how to, dance out of the circle and escape. But then they realize, somebody has to take its place. It's like Indiana Jones with the idol, you have to slide in another human being to remove them. So their thought, so the dance instructor is told, well, why not you bring the entire cast of Hamilton in, because they know you and you were, and they'll trust you. And the dance instructor does not want to doom the entire cast of Hamilton to dance forever, and is forced to make a difficult choice to save the team of explorers or not.
Amazing.
Excellent.
I
like it. I was when I saw the number, the results from the numbers, I was like, oh, we say number one's easy, and then we get a hard one, but you made it easy, so that's good. You made it look easy.
Ice Tundra is a very underutilized location. Fantasy. Let's face it. I mean, The Thing did it superbly well.
Yeah, 100%. That body horror that's probably one of my all-time favorite body horror movies.
Yeah. One of the books I'm using for research right now is about Anglo-Saxon history of seasons and calendars and everything. I can't remember the proper name of the book, but it pulls from a lot of old, of old poetry and epic poems, and what, and just, to describe, the ways that they conceptualized the seasons, how they anthropomorphized them, but it brings up, the use of a blizzard as a great tool to trap your characters. And I think it was from like one of the poems that's used in Beowulf is about, a feud that gets, probably could have been resolved if not for the fact that all the rival parties were stuck in the same longhouse through a blizzard, and that, and tension boiled over and led to that. And while I was reading this, all I could think of, it's The Thing. It didn't start with a tribal rivalry, but it was the whole concept of you cannot leave.
Yeah, I couldn't find what we're talking about with the myth, but something popped up that happened in 1518 in France called the Dancing Plague.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I think I've heard of that. Like I haven't looked, but yeah, wasn't it just people started?
Yeah, for what was it? Historians believe. Okay, there was a fable inspired by the dance mania. Yeah, so it occurred in Strasbourg, modern day France. Over several months, hundreds of citizens were gripped by an uncontrollable urge to dance, resulting in severe injuries and some fatalities due to heart attacks, strokes, or physical exhaustion.
Mm-hmm.
Man.
I listened to a podcast on that literally last week on the Dancing Plague. And they did tests on the first lady, with what they had back then, but they couldn't find a cause and they couldn't find a cure. And then all of a sudden, one day, they all just stopped.
Yeah.
They all stopped and they didn't have that urge again. It's insane. It's one of those things that'll never be solved.
And that's where Footloose came from.
Yes.
I'm sure it wasn't just a really severe case of restless leg syndrome or something like that.
There you go. Anyway, thank you for sticking around so long, Claire. We didn't realize this was going to go twice the length as we normally do, but it's been fun.
That's all right. This has been fun. Yeah.
What we do now is give you the floor to plug what you want to plug, tell our listeners and viewers where they can stay up to date with what you're doing. The floor's yours.
Yeah, definitely. So, but as we were talking about earlier, The Screaming Tree, which Ryan is really excited to read. So that is a good sign. But yeah, it is out now. It's still, it's available on Amazon, and you can dive deep into this mystery, again, inspired by a real life tree. And everything. And then, yes, I am working on book 2, so that will be out very, very soon. And then you can follow me on Amazon. You can follow me on Facebook, which is, I just got to double check. It's Claire Merrick Writes Fantasy, all one word. And then that's probably where I'm most frequent on, but I do have accounts on Instagram, Threads, X, pretty much. But yeah, I think Facebook is where I'm I am most busiest, which is a way.
Cool. Yeah, so guys, I will leave all those links down in the show notes. Please be sure to check that out. And yeah, until next time, remember to check out our sponsors, Rebecca Castles, our honorary sponsors, Janelle Schiecke and Alexander Robb. All the links are down below. Buy some merch. Buy Ryan's shirt if you want to support the show.
Buy my shirt.
Links below. Buy one of Ryan's shirts. He's got 2. He's greedy. He's got 2.
Got 2. I'm trying to work on a 3rd. I'm going to eventually have 7, so you can wear 1 every day of the week.
Oh, nice.
If you're a true fan.
If you're a true fan. Cool. All right, guys. Until next time, keep supporting those indie authors, and we'll catch you on the next episode.